Why am I getting price shopped so much? What can I do to attract a more ideal client? And I don't really want to offer a third package. Do I have to? If you've ever asked yourself any of these questions, you're in for a treat on today's episode because I'm pulling back the curtain and letting you listen in on a one-on-one strategy call, a power hour with Accelerator student Felicia Nalluri from Posh Vows. Power hours are highly discounted one-on-one strategy sessions specifically for Accelerator students to help them get unstuck from a specific thing in their business so they can scale super quickly. Felicia joined the Accelerator only a month ago in February, and it was also only her second month in business, which is absolutely crazy to me. As you'll hear in this call, Felicia is not here for a slow and steady build. This girl wants the tools and strategies to scale quickly, and she is ready to do the work. And so when she dropped into my DMs and asked if she could join the Accelerator, even though she was brand new to business, my response was, if you're willing to do the work, I'm willing and ready to teach you. One of the very first things we did with Felicia when she very first joined the program was to edit her marketing. All of her marketing and her copy was focused on a very DIY couple, and that was causing her to be price shopped quite a bit and also attract a couple that didn't have the budget of the packages that she was charging. So she was losing a ton of clients and she was really attracting a very unideal couple for her pricing. So her marketing did not match her pricing. So we fixed that right away. In just the few weeks that she's been inside the program, she's edited her marketing, her messaging, her sales funnel, and her pricing. And y'all, this is crazy. In her first month in business, she did $400 in sales, which is nothing to sneeze at as a brand new business owner. But in her second month in business, which is when she joined the Accelerator, she has booked $14,000 in business, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Because listen, this isn't magic. It's strategy. It's strong marketing, a strategic sales funnel, and profitable packages. It's the triple threat method that I teach to scaling your six-figure business. I'm excited for you to listen in on this call. And hey, if you are ready for this kind of support as you are building your dream business, you can apply to be part of the Accelerator as well. Just head over to brandygar.com/apply, and we would love to see you inside. All right, let's get into this strategic call with Felicia. Okay, so these calls, just so you know, are really for you. So
Okay.
let's start where you want to start.
So I just started my business 2 months ago, actually, but I wanted to jump in and get everything correct from the start, which is why I signed up for your course because I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'd rather just make the investment at the beginning and then know what I'm doing, make sure everything's set up from the get-go. Everything has been really actually pretty good so far. The first month it was at I made $400, which is really embarrassing because there was someone that wanted to do a graduation party, which I don't even do. But I was like, okay, sure. Now I have to actually go do it for no dollars, but it's okay. And then this month is doing really good. I'm at 7,000 for this month, so I'm pretty happy with that. But it's a lot of events and I felt like I charged way too low. It's mostly wedding management, day of coordination, but it wasn't the price that I actually wanted. And just to get clients, I ended up lowering it way down, which I'm okay with, but obviously long term, I don't want to do that.
I mean, but it helps with your portfolio as
Yeah.
for now. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, okay, it's okay. And plus, I do need to get more experience. That hands-on experience is worth it to me.
So right now you're saying one of your biggest challenges is pricing.
Yes. So yes, and I can see it getting a little bit better because my wedding management package is 2,500. Originally I was getting super price shopped, and I think when you told me to stop saying DIY, and I got rid of that everywhere, on my website, everything. And it might just be a coincidence, or it might have actually worked because 2 days ago I finally got my first full wedding management package for 2,500, and she didn't even question it. She just was like, okay, yes, and then she went and signed it. But before that, yeah, I was getting a lot of people saying, hey, can you do a custom package? Can you do $1,100, blah, blah, blah. And I was just saying yes because I was desperate. In San Diego, there's a lot of planners when they do like wedding management here. Yeah, like 3,500
Yeah.
for wedding management. Mine is 2,500, and I feel pretty happy with that because since I'm
Yes.
brand new, I can't really go higher, I don't think. So,
I mean, you can,
uh-huh.
but like I always try to explain to my students, right? Like you can charge whatever you want if as
Yeah,
long as you are going to deliver the service, which if you know you're good
yeah,
at what you do, then you can. The trick is though that you're going to have so many referral sources
yeah,
that you can charge more because the leads just come in without you doing anything, right?
yeah,
In the beginning, it's not that you can't charge more because you're new. It's just more because the fact that it's like, I don't have that many leads coming in. I need to book the ones that come,
yeah,
right? As
exactly.
you get more and more leads, you can raise that price because you won't need to book those weddings as much. So I feel really good about the 2,500 as well, knowing
Okay.
that you can always increase that as you go. And I honestly, Felicia, 100% the reason you were getting price shopped is because your messaging was so day of coordination. And it was
It
like,
was.
you
Yeah.
only need a day of coordinator, you need a wedding manager. I think it's confusing.
Yeah,
And
that's what I think too. I think it's because my original thing was I was trying to do something different, like that no one's doing. So like wedding manager, people don't like use that term as much. I got like a lot of people messaging me being like, "What's a wedding manager?" Like,
yeah,
wow, I've only heard of a planner and coordinator. But realistically, I'm doing the same thing as a
right.
coordinator planner. So it was like I think that people were getting confused.
Even I was
Yes.
like, I can't wait till I get to talk to her because I don't understand what a wedding manager is. Yeah. So, okay, so let's talk about your other pricing. You're at 2,500 for event management, and then what are your other packages? I'm looking.
So, for full service and design, I feel pretty low, but it's at 7,000. And I think the main reason I'm doing this, obviously, is because I'm new. Like, I just don't have any photos.
So one of the things I think you could do is talk about the experience of working with you. Start there, and then have reels and carousels and things that talk about the Posh experience and show some of the mock-ups that you've done.
Okay.
I actually wouldn't just even make it one blog. Like if you have, let's say you have a mock-up and you know what the couple was going for, and you can
Yeah.
say the couple described XYZ, this is what they were looking for, this is the design we created, here's why we use these elements in their design, here's what the mock-up looked like, right?
Okay.
Because I think talking about that experience is more powerful than what the overall look is. The look is helpful, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but you're designing their look, right? And
Yeah.
so explaining how you pull that out of your couple and how you get those details and how you bring them to life through the design, I think would
Yeah.
actually be more powerful than just showing the finished product anyway. So you only have 2 services, it looks like. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. So I only have two. I just felt like with partial, I was just like a little confused. Like I felt like the lines like kind of get blurred. So I wasn't really like sure about adding that just because honestly, I don't even understand like what what you do with partial. Because I felt like when I used to work for another planner, she ended up taking off partial also because she started getting people like blurring the lines and just starting to take more advantage even and treating her as like full service, and it just was really difficult. I'm definitely like open to adding more services if you think it's like if that's beneficial.
It is. And I can tell
Okay.
you how to fix the blurred lines too. So we
Okay.
went through that for years and years too. And I was just like, I hate this. I hate partials so much. And then really it's an us problem. It's not a client problem
Yeah.
because we don't understand how to put the parameters on that package. So then it just becomes like, what do you do? What do we do? We don't really
Yeah.
know. So the reason you want a middle package is because sales psychology is your most popular package will become your middle package. And why you want that is because while wedding management is great, if you could get $4,500 on the day instead of $2,500 and
Yeah.
only do a little bit more work, sign me up all day long, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And so what we want to do with our partial plan service is we want to create a partial plan that has a lot of perceived value to the client because it's going to save them a ton of time, but takes you very little time, right?
Okay.
So the other thing I want you to think about with partial plan is that a partial plan is not your middle package in between wedding management and full. It's an enhancement to wedding management.
Okay.
Full service client is a completely different client mentality. A full service client books full service because they're looking for someone to take their vision and bring it to life. Like they're busy, they have busy careers, they value their time more than their money. And so they want a good deal, but they understand that they're paying for a service. A partial plan and a wedding management client are different. They're just different buyers. They're more like, I know I need help, but I value my money and I want help, but I don't want that, right? I want to still be very. So when you think about that, when you think about it from that perspective, there's two things that are at play. One, you never, ever, ever want to downsell a full service into partial because they're not even similar, right?
Okay.
So you never want to have a client that's like, I'm really thinking about full service, but I've already booked my venue. And you're like, oh, well, then just do partial. No, because they're not even.
Okay.
But what you would do is a client that's looking for day of or wedding management, and they're like, I know I need wedding management, like that's a given.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm still a little overwhelmed by like what vendors do I book and like what order do I do things in? And you're like, that's what our partial planning is for, right?
Okay.
I do want you to think about just one other thing too, and I talk about this a lot, which is like the cheese pizza analogy, right? So it's like your wedding management service. I know you said at the beginning of this call, it includes a lot. And we
It
want to
includes too much.
right. We want to get rid of that. So what we want to do, we want to think about your services like a pizza. So when you order a cheese pizza, right, you call your local pizza place, you order a cheese pizza. It's hot, it's cheesy, it's delicious, but it has no toppings, right? You didn't pay for toppings, you're not getting the toppings. It's still delicious. That doesn't take away from the fact that it's a great pizza. It's just a basic pizza. If you want mushrooms and anchovies and all the things, you're going to have to pay for that. So you want your wedding management service to be similar. You want it to be everything that they need and nothing that they want. Because what you're going to sell them into partial planning is that we're going to add those things that they want. We're going to add the toppings. We're going to offer the supreme, right?
Okay. Yes.
So let's talk through your three packages or two now. Add in the third one. Okay, so we obviously have the initial booking consultation. We have 2 logistics meetings, timeline creation, vendor communication, 1 month out. Okay. They get access to all your planning ebooks, access to our online planning portal, 1 final venue walkthrough, rehearsal, coordinator, assistant, and 12 hours on wedding day. Okay, so what I want to do here is I'd like to take out the 2 logistics meetings.
Okay.
And I would like to take out the final venue walkthrough.
Okay.
And replace that with a final details meeting.
Okay.
It can be done either in person or Zoom. You don't say that, but the reason for that is because we think, oh, well, we have to do a final venue walkthrough. But as you do more and more weddings, you're going to start working at the same venues over and over. And it, like, at some point, you're going to be like, dude, I literally don't need to. Like, I don't need it. The client might want you there and they can pay for that.
Okay.
You don't need it to be able to flawlessly execute it. Now, that said, if a client books us for wedding management and we've never worked at their venue before, or it's a newer venue for us, we would suggest that the final details meeting is at the venue because we know for us to execute that wedding well, we're going to need to do a walkthrough with them, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't want to guarantee it as part of my service because then I'm going to have to free walkthrough, right? And I don't want to.
Okay.
So that's what I would look at for your wedding management. Now, the only other thing that you could consider, and this is 100% up to you, is some planners offer unlimited communication via email. Some offer zero communication until a certain point. Because you're not going to have those 2 logistics meetings, I would say I think 1 month for your takeover is probably too close now, like because it's not even going to give you enough time to get all the details together if they're not organized. We personally take over 90 days. I think that's a little early, but it's just easier for us logistically. You could do 60 days.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
So, and that's for vendor communication, you said, right?
right. So we do
Okay.
the way that I mean, ours looks very similar to this. Like you don't have to, on your website, you don't need to say a ton of stuff. You just kind of giving them
Okay.
the main bullets. But in your actual contract, you're going to want to let them know, like, we start communicating, or your service starts at what point, right?
Okay.
Is it 90 days out? Is it 60 days out? Whatever it is. And then I love that you give them access to these other things because they cost you nothing. You've got them already.
Yeah.
So it's an added bonus for booking with you. So I love it.
And then in
Um,
terms of like client communication, you're talking about the email. Does that also start 90 days to like for the clients to be able to email me, or what do you recommend for that?
so that's literally 100% up to you.
Okay.
There's no, but what I was talking about is like for us, we do
Yeah.
allow unlimited communication with us via email for our event
Okay.
management because I have someone on my team that handles it.
Okay.
And we've just noticed it makes our life easier
Yeah.
if they say like, hey, I'm looking for a DJ and I'm really not sure
Yeah.
which one would be best. I have $2,500. Who would you suggest?
Okay.
Just easier for us to email them back and give them our
Yeah.
suggestions.
And do you feel like I feel like most clients wouldn't do this, but I'm sure there's a few. Like, do you think that any of them ever like take advantage and try to use you as like full service? Like, hey, review this contract for me, do this. Like, what has that ever happened?
It does. And well, it did. And so
Yeah.
what we did was we have one person on our team, which for now would be you, though I know
Yeah.
you're looking to grow and scale fast,
Yes.
right? What I would suggest for you though, Felicia, is to have a dummy email address that is literally
Okay.
just like events at Posh Vows
Yes.
and then make your signature not from you for
Okay.
the weddings so that they're not like falling in love with you. You can just say
Yeah.
my team will answer, right? Or like, and make
Okay.
this like the Posh Vows team or the ladies at
Yeah.
Posh Vows, whatever, so that they're not thinking it's you. And what happens is you have to set those boundaries. So like if a
Okay.
client emails and says, hey, we mind taking a look at my floor proposal, I would say, hey, that's actually something that we do as part of our partial planning service. If you'd like to upgrade, I can certainly send
Okay.
that over. Because we say right from the beginning and right in our welcome guide that our event management clients are welcome to send us questions, but we don't review contracts, we don't negotiate contracts, we don't communicate
Okay.
with vendors, like any of that.
Yeah.
So really the thing, I mean, honestly, it hasn't been a problem since we've set those clear
Okay.
boundaries. And then we do offer, like, if they email and they're like, I am literally stuck. I'm so overwhelmed. I feel like I don't even know what to do next. And I just feel
Yeah.
overwhelmed. Can you help? We do have a link where they can book a 1 hour call with someone on our team to just get
Okay.
them stuck. And so we call that a power hour, kind of like these, and we just
Yes.
offer a call to get them unstuck.
And that's something that you have like an extra fee for.
Yep.
Okay.
So ours is
Perfect.
$300. I mean, I think you could probably charge $500, whatever feels okay
Yeah.
for you. But that's a way so that if they email you and they're like, I'm so overwhelmed, I'm so stressed, that you don't email them back and be like, sorry, that sucks. You only booked our management
Yeah.
service,
Yeah.
right? Like you want to be able to offer them a solution, but again, you're giving them your time. They're going to need to pay for it, right?
Okay. Yeah. And then like setting these boundaries, like, okay, with our wedding management package, we don't review contracts, like blah, blah, blah. That's an add-on. Do you mention that during the consultation, or does that like scare people away?
No, I don't mention it during the consultation. The
Okay.
consultation is all the things we do, right?
Okay.
So you like
Yeah.
talk about the things you don't do, but it would be detailed in the contract, right?
Yes.
So in the contract, you're not going to say we don't do this, but you could say
Yeah.
we provide unlimited email communication for questions and advice. However, we don't review contracts or
Okay.
communication, right? Like you say that. And then in your welcome guide, because you definitely have a welcome guide, I have a template
Okay.
for inside the accelerator. So that's like once they
Oh.
book as a client, yeah. So jump into the accelerator, grab the welcome guide. I think it's under the sales module.
Okay.
And you would create your welcome guide. And it's basically just like, we're so excited to have you as part of the Posh Vows family. Here's what to expect in your planning. And we have a separate one for event management, one for partial, one for full.
Okay.
And it, like for the event management one, it'll say something like, I think ours says something like, you have unlimited email communication with our team throughout the process. What are some of the questions that most of our clients ask? And we'll list like a handful of questions and we'll say,
what are some questions that we wouldn't be able to answer with this service? And we'll say like, can you review my floral proposal? Can you do this? And we'll say, if you need more help, you can book a power hour with our team. Okay, so for your partial, what I would consider adding, so your full right now is 7,000, which is too low. We're gonna increase that, and we'll go back to that. But what I'd like to see from your partial is we want to make an enhancement to your wedding management. So we want to add toppings. I would like to see you around 4,500 for your partial.
Okay.
And so with that, that's where you can look at adding some of these things back in, like the 2 logistics meetings, right?
Okay.
You can also add in custom vendor referrals. So instead of just giving them your vendor list, which is included in the portal for event management, you would, maybe that first logistics meeting would be talking about their budget, right? So you can help them scale out their budget. So with our partial plan, that is our very first call. We don't manage their budget for them. We're not responsible for it for partial planning, but we do create it for them so that they have an idea of how they can spend in each category. So that could be one of those calls, right? One of those meetings. And then from there, you can give them custom vendor referrals based on that budget. So you already know who's a good vendor for them. That's going to be a good. So you can do that. And then I would maybe put the final walkthrough back in. A venue walkthrough. That's all I would add in. I wouldn't add any more because you're going to charge $2,000 more, but you're going to give them 2 additional meetings, a custom vendor referrals. I would add budget creation in here if you think that's something. I think that's a massive value. We sell it like to my clients on a sales call. I'm like, listen, this is like this is the best thing that's included in our partial plan, because from the beginning, like we had a client the other day that said they have a $75,000 budget. She was like, is that even reasonable for what we're trying to do? They don't know. They made up the number. And so I'm like, well, the very first thing we do in our partial plan is do a budget call with you. And we literally give you a whole budget with all the line items of what you're going to spend, so that when you start booking your vendors, you're not using monopoly money. Like, you know that you're right. And she was like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. So I think that would be helpful. And then the final venue walkthrough, and it's $4,500. Now think about the value you've created for that client, but how it's only another maybe 10 hours of work for you.
Exactly.
So, so that's what your partial would be.
And now I'm thinking, like, for the wedding management, should I even be giving them all of these like guides that I've created? Do you think that's too much?
No, I would. We give our event management clients access to everything we keep inside our portal, because what does it mean to us? It costs me nothing. We're still not doing it for them, but if they want to use our budget tool, they can do it. They can go in and throw their budget in. They can go in and, create their timeline earlier than we're going to create it. They can use our guides.
And then in terms of because what I was doing originally also, which I think was like way too much, is I was like creating a custom like checklist for them and all those things. Like, is it like those type of things we're not doing for them, right? In wedding management, because that's where it's getting into like full.
Oh yeah, you're creating 0 custom things. Like they book and you turn their portal on and that's it. Like done. So now I would have like a sample checklist inside your portal. I would have a sample budget. We also have created sample timelines. So like, if you're doing a first look, here's a sample timeline, because we're not meeting until 90 days out. So they're wanting to know ahead of time. They can play around with it, right, on their own. So that's things that, you set it and forget it with event management. And and again, it's not like, oh, that's a crappy service. It's actually a really, really good service, but they plan 100% on their own. You execute their plan flawlessly, right? Partial, think of partial as like you're a coach along the way, right? Like coaching them through their planning. So you're a lot more involved in communicating with them. You're giving them custom vendor referrals. You're telling them how much to spend in their budget, but they're still doing it all on their own. And with full service is a whole different client. It's the client is They, like I said, they value their time. They want an epic celebration, but they just don't have the time to pull it off. And they just don't want to pull it off. They're like, I don't want to deal with it. But they do have fun in their planning. And so what we always tell our clients is we do everything with and for you. So you can be as involved as you want.
Okay.
I honestly have clients, I'm not even kidding you, I might see face to face one time during their entire planning because they don't have time and they're like, I trust you.
Yeah.
That's what we want, right? With a full service. And then we have others that are like, no, I really want to go to all the vendor meetings. And I'm like, that's fine. Come along, you know, but they still want us to manage everything for them. So one of the things I would say with full service is that also here on your website, this is an incredible amount of text. So I actually go use this as a model, your event management as a model.
Yes.
Honestly, for most of my clients, I tell them not to put bullet points at all. Like I don't want to see bullet points at all, but yours are very broad. So I like that. But like we do not need this much detail. And especially a full service client. They just don't care.
They don't care.
Things like, so if you're going to add bullets here, it would be something that says like everything included in our event management package plus, because we don't need to relist everything that's in event management. Obviously, we're doing all of that, right?
Yeah.
Plus, venue selection as needed. We don't take out part of the fee if they already have their venue, but if you still need a venue, we do your venue select. It would be things like venue selection, stationery, we assemble and mail all your invitations, hotel room blocks, contracting of all of your vendors, like all the things, right?
Okay.
So we're going to put all of that here.
Okay.
What we don't want to do here, you get 7 meetings, you get 90 hours of meeting. No, like every client will be different. And we do not want to say that. We just want to tell them the broad strokes of the things that we're going to handle for them. Right.
Okay.
Because some people will be out of state and they won't need 7 meetings. They don't even, you know.
Okay. And if I don't do the bullet points, I mean, what do you recommend? Like, would I just do like a little overview paragraph or
exactly what you have on the left-hand side? I mean, honestly, if you redid all of your services right here, I would take the whole right side out and just center the left side.
Okay. And you think that's like, is that what you prefer versus the bullet points?
100%.
Okay. 100%. That's what I'll do then. Okay.
Now, remember, there's levels of buying, right? So on your website, you're just explaining to them who the service is for. So that's why you only need the paragraph. Now, when they reach out and they ask you for pricing, that's where the bullet points are going to come in handy. So you're going to want to have a pricing guide that you can send to them that has more of this kind of information, more details. Still need paragraphs of information like this, but bullet points of all the things that you're going to do should be in your pricing guide because now they're more interested. And then your contract is going to have things like we're there 30 minutes before the first vendor and, you know.
Okay, perfect. That makes sense. Okay.
So, let's talk about your pricing for this. I really want to push you to a percentage-based model for your full service. And most planners who are just starting out are so afraid of percentage-based. They feel like they can't do it, so they don't. And I'm telling you, if I could go back and charge percentage-based for the last 10 years that I was not doing it, I would be so rich because the amount of money we left on the table. And you know, we bend over backwards for our full service clients. So for any of our clients, really. And so you're doing the work. And here's the challenge. Most of the time when a client comes to you at the very beginning of their planning, they don't even fully know what they want. And so they're trying to describe it. And so you're pricing it based on what they're describing right now. But as that vision changes, as people get involved, as money becomes available, all of a sudden they went from, I have a $60,000 budget with, 80 people to I'm spending $150,000 budget. We're flying a band in from New York. Like, what? And so that's fine. You can totally do that. But the way you priced yourself was for that original vision. And now you're doing so much more work. And this is how you get burned out. This is how you get overwhelmed. This is how you don't make enough money. And so what I would encourage you to do is I would make it percentage based. In the budget that you manage. And you could have a minimum of $7,000. So you never fall below $7,000. But as you get bigger clients, bigger budgets, more involved weddings, you would make more money from those weddings.
Okay. And is it typically like 10%?
So that's up to you. I would start at 10%.
Okay.
Well, tell me this. What would you say, do you think would be your average budget, their average budget for their wedding for a full service client?
Like 70,000 is like starting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like 60 to 80 is kind of the sweet spot for and then they go up from there, right?
Okay.
So I actually really like 10% with a minimum of 7,000 for you, because that lets you play in that sweet spot of the 60 to 80 and not alienate them.
Okay.
But when you get a client that has 100, 120, 150, and they want more, there's going to be more involved, you're going to scale with them versus I'm 7,000, right?
Yes.
The other reason I prefer percentage-based, especially when you're starting out, is because if you said you're 7,000 to a couple who has a $150,000 budget, they're going to think you're too cheap and something's wrong. By saying our fee is 10% with a minimum of 7,000, that makes them understand, okay, it's going to be 15,000 for me, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So I would direct you to two things. I have a podcast with Nicole Mower. Actually, I have two podcasts on percentage-based pricing. So if you haven't listened to those, go listen.
Okay.
But then inside the accelerator under expert calls, we actually deep dive into how to price this, how to contract, how to keep the budget and make sure you understand how to do the budget for a full service or for percentage. So the call you have today, because you already have put 7,000 on your website, the way I would do it is I would say our fee is 7,000, up to an $85,000 budget, right? Up to 85,000. That gives you some flexibility. And then anything over 85,000, then we would charge a 10% production fee.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And so that way you've got that little insurance pocket there and you've got it if you need it. And honestly, that's actually how we sold percentage based for the first probably 12 months that we did it, because it just felt more comfortable for us.
Yeah.
Now we're just straight 15%, and you scale that percent as you, again, when you try to push up the prices to do less again.
Okay.
It's 10% and 12%, and you start raising your minimum. We're $10,000 minimum, we're $12,000 minimum, right?
Yes.
For now, I think I love 10% with the $7,000.
Okay, that's what I'll do. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so how does this all feel?
No, it feels a lot better, because I was like really like this whole service section I was really like confused about, and just like I was like, I don't know, and I changed it 100 times because I just really didn't know like what to put, and like no, I feel a lot better, like way better. So
pretty good. And what I think is really important to give yourself some grace on is like, I think the reason you were getting price shopped in the beginning, really, it does go back to the fact that you had a different messaging on your social media. I think you really nailed your messaging. I think you have nailed your website. Everything about everything you're putting out looks luxury to me. So I think you're going to stop getting price shopped. And I think you still fall in I think you fall in a great price point where you're not going to get DIY clients.
Yeah.
You're not alienating the average client either.
I'm so excited. Thank you. You make me feel so much better.
Okay, good. I'm so excited. And so what will happen is...
Okay, CEO, if you listened to that call and you were like, yes, this is the kind of support that I need in my business, and I am so ready to break through the wall and just scale the heck out of my business, then I want to invite you to join me inside the accelerator. Just head over to brandygar.com/apply. Fill out all of the information, and then I'll drop into your DM so we can chat about whether it's the right program for you and what your business can look like in just a few short months. Do not wait to get help inside your business. I'm telling you, your business could look wildly different this time next year.